on about 30 mediums as you get somebody that knows you from somewhere else. Life is good. Eric, where do you want to, what are we thinking here?
I'm thinking Craig Lyndall.
You want to go, Craig? Is Craig ready to roll?
Yep.
Wow, look at you. You are jamming today. Hey, it's Craig Lyndall waiting for next year. Hi, Craig.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, Andy.
Yeah, Andre's out today. He and his wife are expecting, so I'd rather have him take care of that than be here any day of the week. And he and his wife, Jen, are two amazing people. And actually, Jen's really the amazing one when it comes to having the baby. So, and you know, everyone knows that as well.
Yeah, that's a really good excuse to be out. So I don't know how you spent your bye week, but I was not watching football at all. I took my son to see the Box Trolls. So we going to talk about movies?
We can do that if you want to. Anything you want to. You know, I spent a good majority of the day yesterday at the ice rink with my kids. I skated yesterday with our, we have an ADM team, which is mites, which is like 7 and younger, 6 and younger. So I did a little practice yesterday, had a little fun yelling at the kids, played some games out on the ice too. So that's a little bit about how I spent my bye. How was the Box Trolls?
My son liked it. I learned a long time ago with the 4-year-old to not even judge kids' movies anymore. Just look at his reaction, and that tells the tale. But we did get home in time to see the Steelers lose, which was pretty fun.
All right, can you take pleasure in watching the Steelers lose, or is it just one of those moments like, oh, good, the Steelers lost?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like a huge amount of pleasure, but I was rooting that entire last drive for the Buccaneers to get it done and take it home. And I couldn't believe when I saw the Steelers with a 36-yard punt. That's not something you normally see out of the Steelers. I don't know. Usually you expect the Steelers to pull out the victory as opposed to go kind of the Brownsiest Browns that they could do.
Didn't that feel like a Browns? I really, like the end of that game, when the Steelers are stalling and trying to get the offense moving, and then all of a sudden they come back, and it felt like, you know, there was no time on the clock, but Tampa Bay made it feel like it was an eternity, even after having difficulty getting into the end zone.
Yeah, and I know you're planning on shutting the show down early today, which is a great idea for the bye week, but do not let Matt Lodi off the hook. Make sure you get him.
See, but I will say this, and everyone's like, oh, you know, I know he runs Steelers Gab, and he is a Steelers fan, but he's a realistic Steelers fan who's here in Cleveland and kind of understands it. So I do cut him that much slack.
I mean, we've won more championships, but we can never bring up that excuse. And Steelers fans can always bring up, well, we got more Super Bowls. Well, just because it wasn't called a Super Bowl in 1960 when Jim Brown was amazing.
1960, huh? How about 64?
64, sorry.
All right, well, it doesn't matter. Listen, I can't sit here and hate on a franchise that I'm jealous of. I mean, I hate the Steelers, but look, they've been able to do it right, have some consistency, and that's all I ever asked for the Browns. I feel like I don't have an argument, and Craig, you tell me. I just don't have I can't stand Steeler fans. I can't stand Clevelanders that are Steelers fans. I respect people from Pittsburgh that grew up near the Three Rivers that kind of get that whole thing. They're there. It's the same way we're brought up as Browns fans, where your parents kind of said, this is the way it is. It's your religion. It's your Browns religion. And I can understand it for Steelers fans that if their whole family were Steelers fans or they have some kind of tie to Pittsburgh, it's the former Browns fans that became Steelers fans. I have no place for those. I have no use for them at all. And the one thing that drives me nuts are the Browns fans who are from Northeast Ohio that call themselves Steelers fans. They are the worst. I can't stand them.
No, yeah, I can't stand them either. They are the worst. And I got to be honest, I'm not one who breaks laws or breaks rules even. But as I was walking through the Target parking lot and I saw that one of those Steeler decals on the back of a car with Ohio plates, it grinds my soul down a little bit, and it makes me want to do bad things to their car, even though I don't do those kinds of things.
That's because those are the things you grew up with when you were a kid. Like, I always remember the stories of, like, slash tires at some of the hotels near the airport and all those things. And not that you should do any of those. I'm not saying they're right. But it's just it's in our psyche. I think, you know, we see so many great things happening here in downtown Cleveland. We hear it and we feel good. Like, even, you know, regardless of what the Johnny Manziel situation is, he brought some I'm trying to think of the word.
Swagger.
Yeah, some swagger. Made us relevant here because people now are suddenly talking about the Browns. Look, whether Manziel plays or not, he has put the Browns back on the map. Now, Hoyer's taken over from that point, and I think we all know it, but I think the rest of the country is still waiting to see when Johnny Manziel is going to get his shot to be the quarterback here. But there are so many little things going on. Clearly, the Cavaliers last Friday, watching that press conference and seeing how many national media members are there. So these are all little things. Even that stupid chandelier, I think it makes a difference. It's a place to say, hey, did you see that chandelier? Let's go take a picture by it. Okay. But all these things that are in our psyche, Craig, and look at all these major corporations that are in Northeast Ohio that are from Pittsburgh. We know a big bank, there's a grocery store chain, there's a huge realtor. They're all from Western Pennsylvania. And eventually, you know, those things get embedded in your psyche, and you're like, well, what's going to happen here? What, can't we do anything right? And now all of a sudden, you start feeling better about your team. You feel better about your city. And then you've got people from Cleveland that are Steelers fans. Done. Drives me nuts.
Well, and that's why if the Browns can take care of their business this year at home against the Steelers, I know they had a chance and they kind of blew it in week 1, but is there anything better than a home win for the Browns over the Steelers? I mean, I was at one probably whenever the last one was. I can't remember, but that watching those Steelers fans walk to their cars and knowing that they thought for sure they were going to walk to their cars a winner, but no, not that day. I just love it.
All right, Craig, just thoughts on what the Browns need to do moving forward going into the next week against Tennessee.
Not much, really. They just need to shore up that defense. And a number of people have said it. I heard Tim Couch say it. They need to play that disciplined defensive line, not overcommit. And they need to finish those pass rushes. That's the number one thing. Everybody wanted. We talked about it last week. Everyone wanted to talk about Joe Hayden and what he's doing wrong. They need to finish the pass rush and actually sack the quarterback because they haven't done it well enough, except the New Orleans game.
All right, Craig, thank you. WaitingForNextYear.com. What's on there now? What can we read?
We're going to have a lot of Cleveland Indians season recap stuff this week, whether you like it or not. And, yeah, all week long.
All right, thank you, Craig. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
You're a great contributor to the show, and we do encourage people to go to WaitingForNextYear.com to go read the stuff because they have great stuff, especially it's the fans' perspective, and I think that, Craig, you guys do a great job on that.
Appreciate it, Andy. Have a good day.
All right, you too. So, Craig with probably one of the finest Skype lines, I think, in all of Northeast Ohio. I mean, it looks like he's doing broadcast television shows from his den over there. We got this fly out here, Eric, the referee, that is, like, driving me nuts. It's like, on the fly? No, we're okay with that. All right, we got Tim Couch coming up here in a little bit. We're going to go back to Kenny Rhoda. Garrett Downing's going to join us from Ravens.com, and then Matt Lodi from Steelers Gab is going to join us too. And I'm hearing we're having a special guest come up here in a second, huh?
Yeah, we're trying to get her. It's hard having only one Skype line, but I'm trying to get it up here.
Well, nobody at home knows that, but there's no rules, so it doesn't make a difference. See what happens here. All right, we're waiting. Special guest. I'm sure if you were watching, I don't think it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Got it. Hold on.
Here we go. So if you watch college football on Saturdays and you see the Dogs on the Run promo, there is an unbelievable stomach that you get to see there. And are we good to go with this? All right, let's go. Skype 2. Look at this. Sonya, she is the face of this show, the best face of the show. Hey, I got to ask you, how did you become the trademark person of this show, that you're in the open and we see you all day during college football? How did that come about?
I think I got like a DM from Todd.
Todd Cluckner's a guy that works here at Channel 5. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple months ago. I don't know. That's it. I'm very lucky, I guess. I don't know.
And I got to ask you, as somebody that tailgates, because we see your pictures from the Muni a lot, have you become like somewhat of a legend for the Browns because of your belly? Because people have had the opportunity to see your stomach?
No.
Do people recognize you from your stomach?
No. People who know that it is my stomach, yes. But people don't recognize my stomach. I don't walk around with my stomach out.
So are you honored to see your stomach during college football games on Saturday? Because we see that you are the promotional item that actually makes people want to watch this show. Unlike Andre and I. Well, maybe Andre, but not me this morning.
I can't see you.
You can't see me?
No.
No, that's okay. It's not a big deal. As long as you can hear me, that's all that matters.
Okay.
It's not typical Skype. So you find out that you're going to be in these commercials for us, and that we also get the chance to, there you go, you got your Dogs on the Run shirt on, very nice. And so when you had the opportunity to be a part of the show, you said, oh, yeah, I want to be a part of this. There you go. Everyone's seeing your picture right now, the stomach of the show.
Yeah. It's funny. Todd he's so nice and he makes me feel so comfortable, but it was terrifying. I'm a nurse. This is not normal for me.
It's not normal for you. I got it. But I do think we get great and positive feedback on your stomach. I just want you to know that.
Good, good. I'm glad.
There you go. All right, what'd you do on your off week? What'd you do yesterday? No Browns?
Yeah, no, I worked. I worked nights. So I worked and I slept. Boring.
So you didn't have a honeydew list or anything like that? Your husband didn't give you a honeydew list or anything?
Nope. I woke up. I actually went and sat out for a bit and read and fell back asleep.
You're way too intelligent for the show. I want you to know that. So you're a reader. We found that out. And that you probably are educated. So that takes you out of that puts you in like the 95th percentile of education when it comes to this show.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Thoughts on the Browns heading into the after the bye week here?
No, I mean, I think we should probably, I hate to jinx it, but I don't see us losing before Cincinnati. I don't know. We should go in. We're going to go away to Cincinnati. It might be a little ugly, but before then, I don't think it should be. I mean, if Hayden can step up and a couple other people on the defense, and my fake husband, Paul Kruger,
He's your fake husband? Does he know that? Does Paul know that he's your fake husband?
I told him, but he didn't even know what a selfie was when I talked to him. So I think we're...
Okay, thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. We appreciate your time. And thank you for being the belly of the station. She does a nice job. Eric, good job lining her up today. Thank you, Sonya. All right, she did. Eric, I will say that is your finest guest book of all time.
Thank you.
Well done.
All right.
You can go home now.
Applause?
No rules. I got a feeling we're going past 8 o'clock because I didn't think we would, but now we are. Eric, what else we got coming up here? Tim's coming back. All right. I got to tell you, it's hard to follow that.
I know.
You know that.
I know.
All right, Tim, we'll go back. Tim, did you happen to see the last interview we just did with Sonya? She is I don't know if you've seen any of the advertising for the show, but she's got an amazing stomach that they use to put advertising on to get people to watch the show.
No, I didn't see that one. Unfortunately, I missed it.
Do yourself a favor. Just Google the show and then try to find the advertising for it, and you'll be happy that you did it. I promise you that.
I'll check that out.
All right, Tim. As we look at the rest of the schedule here for the Browns, as fans, it's easy to want to jump into the schedule and say, you got the Titans, the Steelers are coming here, you're at the Jags, you got the Raiders, the Bucks, and then you're at the Bengals on November 6th. As a fan, it's hard not to look at that and say, you know what? By the time Josh Gordon comes back, this team could be in position to make a serious run at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. The way they've played the first 3 games, we talked about earlier, they're in all these games. These games are coming down to the wire. They just have to find a way to finish and make the plays necessary towards the end of the game to win some of them. But those are all winnable games for the Browns. They really are. And it's kind of what they're really doing when, kind of treading water a little bit, hoping they can get some wins until Josh comes back. And when you add Josh Gordon to the mix, this offense is going to go to another level because these receivers are getting a whole lot of experience about, playing out of position a little bit, in my opinion. They're kind of forced, some of these guys are forced into being, playmakers that were really going to be role players. And I think that's going to help down the road because when Josh comes back, he's going to get so much attention that some of these other guys will have to step up. And I think some of the experience that they've gained through these first 3 weeks and until Josh gets back, and they'll continue to gain, it's going to be real beneficial for the offense.
Hey, Tim, I want to talk about Kyle Shanahan for a second and his relationship with Brian Hoyer. How difficult is it for a quarterback and an offensive coordinator, especially when it goes both ways. I mean, if you're the offensive coordinator, you're used to working with like Kirk Cousins or RG3 before you came here. And if you're Brian Hoyer, you're switching offensive coordinators again. I think Brian's been a real pro about this, but how difficult is that transition? Because, you would think the best offensive coordinator quarterback tandems, those guys, by the middle of the season or early on in the season, they're thinking exactly the same way. Is that true or not true? And what do you think of this relationship right now?
Well, I think it's definitely true. I think it's very tough to switch offenses like that. And, Brian's done a good job of learning the system, and they put in, stuff that he feels comfortable with, obviously, and, it's showing on the field. But, a quarterback, offensive coordinator relationship is really, really important. And I think you have to be on the same page. You have to understand what he's thinking and why he's calling a particular play. And, I think when you get that down, it really allows you to go out and make plays as a quarterback because, you get, say you're in the red zone example and, coach calls a particular play and you understand why he's calling it because we're trying to attack the defense that we're anticipating that they're going to be in a certain area. And if they're not in that, if we guess wrong, then you have to know where to go with the ball after that and go through the reads and progressions. But I think you get a feel, by working together, through the weeks and as the season goes on, you kind of get a feel for how he likes to call plays and how he likes to set up a game. You come out early in the game, you set up plays and formations and see how they adjust to it, and then you call your plays accordingly to that as the game goes on. And it's a very important relationship that the quarterback and OC be on the same page, and I think it's been really good so far with Brian and Kyle Shanahan. And the way Brian's been playing, how comfortable he looks, how quickly the football's coming out, the decisions he's making, and how careful he's been with the ball. I think it says a lot about their relationship and how they're on the same page.
Hey, Tim, though, I'm just curious, because I'm thinking about what's going on in Pittsburgh right now with Ben Roethlisberger and Todd Haley too. That being on the same page mentally, how important that is because. Like Tim, when you play, you know what your strengths are. And you get a play called in that might not be to your strengths, or maybe you're seeing something that the offensive coordinator isn't seeing. You're trying to relay that back and say, hey, I think we have an opportunity, and I'm sure you're doing it in between series. But then all of a sudden, I don't know, everything's going so fast. Just talk about the mental aspect there. If you've got a quarterback that isn't all in with the offensive coordinator, how dangerous that can be.
Oh yeah, it can be a bad situation. I've seen it go really, really bad where a quarterback just doesn't agree with what's being called, and if you're not seeing the game the same way, it can be really, really bad, and the quarterback just doesn't feel comfortable. And and that's the whole thing to me is an offensive coordinator should be there to help the quarterback feel comfortable and understand what his strengths and weaknesses are and call plays accordingly. And, it's all about, as a coordinator, it's all about putting guys in position to make plays. The quarterback, the receivers, you don't want to call a receiver on a route either who simply can't win, that type of route against a one-on-one coverage or whatever it may be. You have to set guys up for success. And, a lot of times coaches just dial plays to call them up and, because it sounds good and it looks good on paper, but you're not putting your particular guys that in the skill sets they have in the right position to go out and make plays and be successful.
And on top of that, the last thing I do want to talk to you about is the offensive line buying in. And outside of that first two quarters against Pittsburgh, when we don't really talk about the offensive line, to me, Tim, that says they're doing a good job.
That's exactly right. They're not showing up, and that's what you want. You kind of want those guys to just do their job, and the backs are able to find holes and run the ball effectively. And Brian's not really getting hit very much at all. I'm not sure how many sacks he has on the season, but I know it's not many. And he's getting rid of it quickly, which helps as well. But you get guys like Joe Thomas and guys like that who can you can count on to just shut down that side of the offensive line or defensive line. You don't have to really worry about it. You don't have to slide a back over there, slide protection to help out, I guess, in the defensive end. So that really helps in protection. And those guys have done an amazing job. And just like you said, when you're not talking about them, that means they're doing great. And because I've been, when I played there, we talked about them quite a bit, and and it had a lot to do with everything on the offense. So, I didn't get rid of the ball quick enough. We didn't have receivers that were getting open quick enough, and so it all plays a role. So it all works back. It's all a team effort. And but everyone's doing a nice job. Brian is in complete command of the offense, and that really helps out the offensive line of in their protections as well.
Tim, have a great week. We're looking forward to talking to you next Monday after the Browns play the Titans. So thank you, Tim.
Okay, looking forward to it. See you then.
All right, Tim Couch, who is our expert analyst on this show.